Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Just before we get started with tonight's show, obviously myself, Mark, and Maruna wanted to start off by obviously sending our condolences on behalf of Over the Bar as a channel and obviously as a website to the royal family with regards to the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. It's a really sad thing, longest serving monarch for the United Kingdom in history. So I think we just wanted to start off in the right way with tonight's show. We wanted to make sure that I was very apparent that our best wishes from Over the Bar are with the royal family in regards to the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. We'll carry on with tonight's show. So it's going to be a shorter fantasy football show, of course, tonight with Mark and Runa checking in. How are you two both this evening?
Yeah, not bad at all. Just been watching a bit of the obviously some of the European football as well, with Cologne and Union Berlin in action. So yeah, looking forward to just a nice short show tonight. And
yeah, Runa, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Like Mark, I also watched a bit of football and the rise between the fans ahead of the Köln game.
Indeed,
crazy. So
hopefully
not looking too good for Union Berlin at the moment. Hopefully they can still get a point here towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously this show is indeed in partnership with Runa's very own Bully News. So do make sure that you go check them out for all German football content written in English. Go check them out on Twitter at Bully News or find them on their website for fantasy football articles, long reads, match predictions, lineups, and all sorts and everything else in between. Please do, if you can and you feel like it, that'd be brilliant. Like the video that we've got going on tonight. Comment along. If you've got any questions for Runa, we'll try to get through them in the time that we have this evening. So to get them in nice and early. Subsequently, if you missed the show that we're doing live right now and you're watching subsequently before the weekend, pop your question in the comment section below and we'll make sure that one of us gets to it, most likely Runa, because that's the advice that you want to follow. And of course, make sure that you subscribe to the channel by pressing the red button so you don't miss out on any of these shows that are coming your way thick and fast. Me and Mark are recording for the third time in 4 days. We're doing our best to provide you with as much great Bundesliga content as possible. So Runa, obviously, we're heading into match day 6 now, starting to really get into the season, which is great. And obviously starting to see some more themes and patterns with regards to how well certain players and teams are doing. So tonight, we're just going to be going through the 3 main positions. So no goalkeeper stuff tonight. So we'll be starting off with defenders and obviously going through budget picks, mid-price and premium. So we'll kick off with that first and foremost then. And so lead on.
Yeah, I think I'll just start off by just giving a brief mention to a goalkeeper, Alexander Meyer from Dortmund, who should start this week and probably also next week with Gregor Kobel out. So he costs 2.5 million. So that's pretty cheap for a starter for Dortmund. So maybe one to consider there. Then to move on to my defensive picks. My budget pick is Mitchell Weiser, as it's been a few times already this season. Gets a bit boring to mention him every week, but he's a pretty good budget defender and probably the best budget defender this week, I think, with Werder facing Augsburg at home on Friday, and still only owned by 9% of the players. I don't really understand that, but still a very good pick. And my mid-price pick this week is Luca Pellegrini. I think Frankfurt have a pretty attractive schedule coming up, but the problem is that it's pretty hard to predict who will get a rest and who will get to start in light of all their Champions League games this week and next week. So one of the players that you could target if you want to invest in Frankfurt is Pellegrini, because he missed last week's win over Leipzig because of an injury, and then he came on against Sporting, and that unfortunate loss in which I think Frankfurt actually looked like the better side in the first half. But yeah, Christopher Lenz is ruled out. Pellegrini came on to replace him, so he looks pretty set to start on the left side of the fence. Yeah, against Wolfsburg this week, and that's a pretty good matchup for Frankfurt too at home. Wolfsburg are still winless. So yeah, and then my premium pick is a pretty popular player, Benjamin Pavar, but I wanted to give him a mention. I just looked at his ownership, and it has increased from 4% to 35% since the game started. And yeah, understandably so, because he's actually been the best performing player with 72 points to his name so far. So that's really impressive. And he's outscored Davies by a wide margin. So if you still haven't brought him in, then it's probably about time. And especially with Bayern's home game against Stuttgart, I think you could consider doubling up. Even if you already have Davies, then it makes sense to get Pavard on your side too.
Yeah, and just one question in as well, actually, from one of our new guests, Friendly Bane. Yeah, he's actually just asked pretty much that question. Yeah, what's your take on Pavar versus Alfonso? Yeah, anything more you want to add to that? I think you pretty much explained already, really. But...
Yeah, I mean, deep down, I feel Davies has more potential than Pavard in terms of fantasy output, but Pavard is in great form, has just looked great this season, and I think he's surprised a lot of teams. They are probably more focused on Davies, and Pavard is not like the main attention point, and then he's actually been doing quite well setting up shots and getting forward up the pitch. So at the moment, I'd actually say Pavard, also because he's cheaper. But as I said, doubling up on Bayern this week would make sense, and you could like keep Pavard and Davies until the international break in a few weeks' time, because you will get unlimited transfers there and can completely reshuffle your team at that point.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, to be fair, because Mark, I think we noticed it even last night in the watch along. A lot of the attacking play from Bayern did come down the right, didn't it, with Pavard being involved.
He's been really good this season. I think he's been a lot better than Davies this season.
Yeah,
but obviously it can change, but I think this has been Pavard's probably best start to the season I can remember in a Bayern shirt. So definitely probably summed up by the fact that he's in 35% of teams as well. I just want to say about Weiser though, like I took your advice last week, Runa, and put him in. He got 17 points. The only problem was I didn't have him as the captain, so I lost a few points on that. But yeah, he was a pretty damn good pick, that's for sure.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. It might have been just because of the way that Alfonso Davies was matched up against Denzel Dumfries. So that was a harder task for him, perhaps. Just following up from that, Friendly Bane, which obviously is a fantastic name, by the way, for a profile. Runa Siladia, one game wonder, or maybe, keep him in for a little bit longer.
I mean, he's at that price, he's still attractive, I think. I would prefer Weiser, just because Weiser is more involved offensively for Werder. Also, he has a better matchup this week, I think. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect too much from Sildilia. But again, at that price, then, I mean, if he frees up funds for other positions and other more expensive players, then he might still be worth picking after all.
Yep, good stuff. So that's defenders covered. So we shall move on to our midfielders. So budget, mid-price, and premium, which are all now going on the screen below. So Runa, run us through your midfielders.
Yeah, my budget pick this week is Niklas Schmidt from Werder Bremen, and I'm kind of taking advantage of the fact that we can see the Bremen lineup this week because they play on Friday. Because Schmidt isn't, I mean, he's not nailed on to start, but he has a good chance of starting, and he cost 2.9 million. Started last week against Bochum, and Leonardo Bittencourt is still out. Jens Stay is back, so depending on how Ole Werner sets up his team, he could choose to play Stay instead of Niklas Schmidt, but we'll see that on Friday. And if Schmidt plays at 2.9 million and 1% ownership, he has a pretty good chance of being a good differential this week, I think, at a very low cost. Also because you can put your star man on him on Friday. So maybe if he has, like the game you mentioned, Mark, that Weiser had last week, if he does something similar and you have your star man on him, then he can really forward in the rankings. Also want to mention Romano Schmidt, his fellow central midfielder, who's a bit more expensive, but also more nailed on to start. So he's an option too. My mid-price pick is Florian Keintz, who was actually the most scoring player last week, 27 points. So that was pretty impressive. And of course, he was hugely involved in Köln's 4-2 win over Wolfsburg, scored a penalty and set up 2 goals. So he's in great form. He showed the kind of ceiling he has last week and offers great flexibility, I think, as he plays on Sunday. And then he has a really attractive matchup against Bochum on match day 7. So a player you can keep until the international break too. And my premium pick is Vincenzo Grifo. I'd really like to have at least one Freiburg midfielder for that last game of the round. Because they're playing Gladbach at home, and Gladbach have a few injuries in defense. Ko Isekura is suspended, and Nico Elvedi is very likely to miss out. So that's their usual centre-back pairing probably being absent. So I think Freiburg should have a good chance of winning that game and also getting on the score sheet. And as we all know, Grifo is usually involved when they get on the score sheet. So he's also very popular player, 30% ownership. But then again, if you want to differentiate yourself from the other players, you could choose Ritsu Doan or even Young, who also looks set to start with Roland Salai out injured.
Yeah, and another couple of questions coming in as well from Jeff Wagner. Yeah, he says, is Kamada worthy against the wobbly Wolves? Do you think it's worth picking him or?
Yeah, with Kamada, it's a question of whether he plays or not. Also, actually, I noticed that Oliver Glasner, the Frankfurt coach, talked about the possibility of moving Kamada down to central midfield from a more attacking role. So that could, decrease his chance of doing well this week. But then again, yeah, as you say, the wobbly Wolves, Jeff, Wolfsburg haven't looked good by any means. So if Kamada plays, then he's a very good pick. But I think it's kind of hard to predict who will start for Frankfurt, especially if you look on their attack. I think Götze is probably the most safe pick out of Kamada and Lindström and Götze. So maybe I would go with him if I were to pick one of those 3.
Yeah, and one other question as well, again from the friendly Bane. Yeah, good question as well. Is it blasphemy to consider removing Nkunku? Leipzig aren't looking that good right now. What do you think about that? Because I got him in my team as well, and he was garbage last week.
Yeah, that's a good question. Personally, I thought about it too, and personally, I'm leaning towards keeping Nkunku for at least this match day because, Tedesco just lost his job, and sometimes when a new coach comes in, as we all know, you see a reaction. Yeah, and maybe we'll see that reaction from Leipzig this weekend. In any case, Nkunku, whenever they've done well this season, he's usually been involved. So yeah. I think it would be a gamble to ship him out now. I'll probably wait and see how things go this weekend and then consider it next week.
Yeah. Very good stuff. Yeah, thanks for all the questions again. Straight on to strikers then, Runa. So take us through your budget, mid-price and premium, and they are also now going below the screen at the moment. So yeah, over to you again.
Yeah, my budget pick, I think it's the same as last week, Niklas Füllkrug from Werder. And he obviously did very well last week, picking up 20 points, scoring a brace. So he has 5 goals in 5 games this season and plays Augsburg at home on Friday evening. So I think he's a bit of a no-brainer this week, especially at that price. Makes good sense to get him in if you don't own him already. Our mid-price pick is Geraldo Becker, who he's been amazing this season. 5 goals and 2 assists in 5 games, and also scored against Bayern last week. So he seems unstoppable at the moment, at least when Union are playing in the Bundesliga and not in Europe. I think against Köln that aren't exactly known for their defensive solidity, I think he could keep up his good form and get on the score sheet again potentially. then my premium pick is Serge Gnabry, because I mean it's a bit of a gamble at 14 million, because he's been on the bench for a few games, but it's exactly for that reason I think he's pretty likely to start up front against Stuttgart. It would make sense for Nagelsmann to rotate his side to like cope with the tight schedule and all the European games, and I think Gnabry is one of the more fresh players in the squad. So I mean he's owned by 6%, and he has huge potential. If he's on his game, he can score several goals. So I think he's a quite good differential option actually from Bayern at 6% ownership this week.
Yeah, and another couple of questions coming in about Sadio Mane as well, actually. First of all, from Friendly Bean, is Mane really a must-have? Feels like there's better value elsewhere. And then a similar question from Jeff, saying that Mane has been no better than the third highest scoring Bayern forward in 4 of 5 matches. Is it time to cut the costs? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the advantage with Sadio Mane is that he's probably the most nailed on for what Bayern have. I think it's kind of hard to predict. I mean, besides Müller, Müller and Mane are pretty nailed on to play every week, for most weeks at least. The other 2 positions offensively are kind of hard to predict, I think, with the likes of Sané and Coman and Gnabry and Musiala competing for 2 places. So I think that's definitely an advantage. But with that being said, of course, he hasn't delivered as well as I think we had all hoped. And again, against Inter, I think he missed a lot of chances. And he hasn't been clinical enough in front of goal and has run into some pretty dumb offside positions. If it just stayed on side for a few of those situations, then he would have scored at least a couple of more goals. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't drop him this week because they have Stuttgart at home and then they have Augsburg next week, as far as I remember. So, I mean, that's 2 pretty good matchups for Bayern. And as I said, I mean, he looks like the most nailed-on player in offense, and at the same time, I also think Bayern really want to get him going and boost his confidence. So, pretty sure he'll start again this week, and they'll do everything they can to like feed him so he can score goals.
Yeah, just another couple of quick ones. Yeah, thoughts on Modeste at Dortmund?
Yeah, I mean, haven't been that impressed with him so far, to be honest. We'll probably steer clear of him right now. I think there are better picks in midfield if you're looking to bring in a Dortmund player. I think Julian Brandt and Marco Reus are both in pretty good form, look great in the Champions League too. And also in defense, actually, Rafael Guerreiro looked like his former self against Copenhagen, also getting on the score sheet. So we'll probably steer clear of Modeste at the moment. I don't think he looks that sharp.
Yeah, just another, we're getting them all flying in at the moment for you, Bruno. Yeah, no Musiala to start this week. What do you think about that?
Yeah, as I said, it's pretty difficult to predict who will start. I think he has a good chance of starting this week, actually, because he's been on the bench a few times, and Nagelsmann has said he's not been at 100%. But I mean, he's had a few days to recover now, and depends on his physical situation. So we'll see leading up to the game what's being said, what Nagelsmann has to say about it. But I think he has a good shot of starting. But yeah, again, it's a gamble. As I said, there are 4 players competing for 2 spots. So difficult to predict.
Then another one about a player we've not mentioned yet, but one that's pretty on form. Yeah, thoughts on Lucas Nemecha? Every time I watch Wolfsburg, it seems to score. Is he a trap? What do you think?
I think he's a great player, actually. But Wolfsburg are not looking good at the moment. I think they're clearly struggling both defensively and attacking wise. I think they're conceding too many goals and not scoring enough. And at the same time, they have Frankfurt away this week, and then they have Union Berlin away next week. So that's 2 away games at pretty difficult grounds. So I would probably stay clear of him at the moment, but he's one to keep an eye on more long term, I think.
Yep, good stuff. So yeah, thank you everyone for your questions this evening. That's brilliant stuff, and thank you, Runa, for fielding them so well. So I think we'll call it for this evening. So brilliant. Thank you for everyone that tuned in this evening. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. If you watch it subsequently, hope you managed to get some good tips off of Runa's brilliant advice. And like I said, if you're watching this subsequently, please do just pop in your questions in the comments section below, and we'll make sure we get to them, hopefully before 7:30 UK time, before the Friday night game kicks off, to make sure that you shape your squad accordingly for match week 6. So not much more to add, but just to hand over to you, Mark, to close up tonight's show.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you enjoyed what you saw, as usual, check out Over the Bar FB and Over the Bar Extra. Also remember to check out our main site, otbfootball.net. More and more stuff we've got posted on there. I think Rory did an article on Union Berlin as well recently, didn't you? So remember to check that out. It's always a while, but anyway, there is a few good articles on the Bundesliga on there as well. So check them out. And also don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our show. And also there should be the Football League show starting soon, but I'm not sure they've gone ahead with that due to obviously the stuff. But hopefully they will go ahead with that show in about 10 minutes time. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for joining us. And see you next time. Bye-bye, guys.
Cheers all.
Bye-bye.